And we are live. Welcome back to the 2018 Canadian Indoor Singles Championships. Our feature match in front of us is the Battle of Ontario between Patrick Cote and Kerry Lucier. And I'm Jake Shuknik, joined again by David Gerard. How are you doing this morning, David?
Oh, not too bad. And you?
I can't complain.
Yeah.
Beautiful day here in Vancouver, British Columbia. Typical BC rain to start the day.
Yeah. Just get your feet wet. So, sorry, I'm drawing a blank here, but is it Cote?
Patrick.
Patrick, right? Patrick. He's bowling with Dreamline XGs, I believe.
Mm-hmm. The red ones.
Yeah. Size 4, which I don't know if he bought them from Vince or they're on loan from Vince.
Mm-hmm.
And Kerry is he's bowling arrows, but I didn't get the make off him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, arrow something. I'm not quite sure, but
Yeah.
they're the yellow ones.
Real, yeah, and they have a real narrow bias. So.
Mm-hmm. As you can see, Kerry's third bowl coming into the head, drawing shot itself.
Yeah. No, actually, they're doing pretty good for first end bowling right now too. I was thinking about that. Their weight's right on.
They're all warmed up and ready to go.
Yeah. I've been here for a few days. Get on to it.
I see you've got the standings pulled up. Where are they in the rankings?
Okay. Patrick he's 5-3. So he's in with a pack. Right at the top is Heron and John Bjornsson. They're both 6-2, and then it's Richard Yao, Greg Wilson, John Braun, and Patrick Cote are all 5-3. Then David Anderson and Kerry Lucier and Doug Prop are all 4-4. And then after that, Charlie Taylor, 2-6. Brian Coleman and Michael Riley are both 1-7. So that's kind of nice. We don't have any undefeated, and everyone's won at least one game. So that's a good thing to see.
It is. It is. You're always worried when you see that someone's 0-8 or 0-9 going in the last game, and you think, uh-oh.
Yeah. Because I really think everyone deserves at least one win. But you can't bowl on merit alone.
True.
So yeah, looks like Kerry's really got a good group of bowls there. So Patrick's gonna have to watch out that he doesn't move the jack over to.
He's playing with some
his
weight here.
Bowls. Yeah, he might have it. Oh, just missed.
Wow.
Very, very close.
Wowza.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how many down he is there. It's probably 2, maybe 3. No, 2.
Yeah, it could be 2. It's a close cluster anyway.
Yeah.
But, having streamed one of Kerry's games already, we know that he likes to fire. And talking with Patrick, he said he's more than willing to fire, as we saw from his last bowl there.
Yeah.
So this could be a very entertaining game. Lots of action.
And on the adjacent rinks, on rink 6, which is to the right, so we're missing a player there.
Between
Doug?
Brian Coleman and Dave Anderson.
Oh, okay, right. There's too many B's and C's around here, and D's.
Everybody has the same initials.
Yeah.
So that was 2 to Kerry Lucier after one end.
Yeah, it could have been a 4 or 5 point swing had Patrick connected with the jack there.
Mm-hmm. As always, if you want to get in touch with us, feel free to reach out to us on Facebook or Twitter at BCB Bowls on Twitter and at BCB Official on Facebook. Medium length jack, slightly longer actually, 3/4 length maybe.
Yeah, it's Yeah, good 3/4. Yep. Yep.
Looks
Oh,
like
nice
Carey's
ball.
coming just back short of the tee.
Not a bad place to put your first ball.
Not
Although
bad.
you want it on the jack, right? Covering the jack.
If you can't be on the jack, that's a pretty okay second spot.
Yeah. Patrick's coming in. This looks close too.
This looks like a very good ball.
Could be a toucher.
Yeah, this will be shot itself.
Oh, nice ball. Maybe 6 inches short of the jack.
I wouldn't be surprised if Carey switches hands here. He seemed to do that a lot in the game that we televised earlier, and I couldn't understand why he kept switching hands back and forth. But now that I know that, I'm going to fully expect him to this game to continue to keep switching hands back and forth.
Sometimes it's yeah. There's two schools of thought there, I guess. You know, if you put a good one, just keep it up, and you should be able to
replicate it.
Yeah, replicate it. Do the old the caterpillar.
Yep, the caterpillar drills.
The live caterpillar.
And we'll see how good Patrick is at caterpillaring.
Yeah.
He's added some weight to it.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
It's a really good spot to be.
Yeah.
Beautiful bowls.
And that's even second, so it's up 2, I believe.
Yep, holding 2. I was going to say this looks a little bit wider, but as we've seen from this hand, it's a bit of a swoop, so even though Carey's using a slightly narrower bowl, it is still coming right back across.
Yeah.
If I'm Patrick, I'd be tempted to try to get something into that cluster of 3 yellow bowls there,
right.
Or something close to the tee, because if Carey throws a drive at that, it kills it.
That's narrow.
He's throwing a guard. This is coming up well short, and almost right in the drive line.
Yeah, not as narrow as I thought, but yeah, no, that's it's in his eye.
That looks narrow based on the last one that he threw.
Yeah. He may not know this rink that well.
Given that he already played a game here.
Oh, okay.
But I guess Patrick has too.
Yeah.
That's the one thing about the draw for this, is that since there's only 6 rinks and you're playing 11 games, you're bound to play on the same rink at least twice.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say what I would do here because I'm always wrong.
Please do.
If I was Patrick, I would stick with the forehand.
Yep, I would as well.
Yeah, and you can do it, just draw weight if you can. If it's a little heavy, it's not too bad. He'll still be within the count. If he goes a little crazy heavy, he'll still probably be okay for 2 if he moves the jack back a foot or 2. Maybe, yeah, probably 3. Yeah, because he would stay.
But he is.
He's going the other way. See, I told you.
Going on the other hand, which I think I would agree with you based off of his first 2 bowls being really good bowls that he had nothing to worry about.
No. And he's taking the safest route there, which is okay because I think he got his
he's
third.
in the count, so that's probably 3.
Yeah.
So that will give the lead to Patrick then, 3-2 after 2 ends. I was wondering when John Siteman would tune in. Nova Scotia fanatic bowler. He's an under 25er saying, "Thanks for streaming this. Wish I could have come out to play the indoor. Maybe some year after age out of the U25s."
Yeah, well, you can. I think Eric was in it when he was 16, maybe 16, 17.
16, 17, sometime around there. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And excuse me, if I remember right, he did, quite well.
Did okay.
Considering,
yeah, absolutely.
It's a great experience.
Absolutely.
To get that surface. Mind you, some of these younger bowlers have probably been all over the place already anyhow, so and experienced quicker greens and that kind of stuff.
I was going to say, I know that John goes down to the Australian Open frequently. I think he's gone 2, maybe 3 times now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he's competed on fast surfaces before, so this wouldn't really be too much of a
transition.
Yeah. Although I guess being from Nova Scotia, it's not like you get to play on that surface all the time either. So
no.
So opening bowls here, Carey is through the head, and Patrick's a little bit short, but different jack length. It's not quite that 3/4 length, almost sort of a medium mid-length now, and especially with the mat up as far as it is.
Yeah.
And that's a really good shot drawn from Mr. Cote.
Yeah, it's fairly short because I think he's up at 1, 2, 4 dots, 5 dots.
This could be grabbing an inside rub, if it's there.
Yeah, close.
Not quite, so still 1 red. So I had dinner last night with a few players again, and I had a good chat with Patrick Cote about short mat bowls.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So he, his wife, and a couple of friends have put together, I think it's called JJ Mat Bowling or something like that, which is, they use a church gym in Toronto, and they went and bought a whole bunch of short mats and 16 sets of bowls, and now pretty much every weekend they run short mat at the gym of the church, and it's just absolutely fantastic. I want to say that they run mostly during the winter. It's their peak operating season, but given that there's, not a whole lot of indoor facilities aside from this outside of BC, I think it's just a great initiative, a great opportunity for people to still bowl. Like, yeah, short mat's not quite the same as full-length lawn bowling, but it's still better than doing nothing during the winter. So.
No, but I think it's become all the sort of craze in Europe now, hasn't it? It's really big there.
Yes.
Short mat.
Yes, it is very big over there.
Yeah. So who knows? I mean, if that sort of support could translate over here, it would be great, because you'd be doing it everywhere, yeah. All the major cities, anyhow. Yeah, short mat, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, Dave Anderson on the rink next door, and then Patrick Cote on this rink. They both went to, I want to say, the World Short Mat Championships or something like that a few years back in Sweden, and they were telling me about all the countries there of people who only short mat bowl. They don't actually lawn bowl at all. It's just short mat. That's all they do.
Right.
And for some countries, they don't have lawn bowling facilities at all. They only have short mats, so that would be why.
Well, it's a good alternative. It's I wouldn't mind trying it sometime, but I think I'd sooner try a crown green bowling out. I've never done that, and I'm really interested in it.
Crown green bowling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
George, our head umpire here, he's that's how he started out.
Was crown green bowling?
Yeah. In the UK.
So John's messaging us on Facebook saying that he specializes in carpet because at his club at Dartmouth it's artificial, and so indoor carpets, Australian surfaces are much faster, and adjusting your technique to indoor carpet bowls really helps refine your technique in his view.
Yeah.
So we got a little bit of weight coming here.
Nice, you got it.
Back for 2.
Yeah, two or three.
I think just two. I
Okay.
think Patrick's Red Bull is third shot.
Yeah, I don't know if it was you I was talking to yesterday or if it was on air or off air, but excuse me, how it does refine your delivery and stuff like that. It's audio feedback for me that on these surfaces, especially here because it's plywood and then underlay and carpet. So if you dump your bowl,
You hear
everyone knows it.
it. Yep.
So you learn to get a really nice smooth delivery.
It's interesting too because even when you don't have such a hard underlay that is audible, it still forces you to have a smooth delivery. And I'm thinking of one specific club in Ontario that has an outdoor artificial. Niagara on the Lake is the name of the town, and their underlay is, I want to say, like rubber, and so it's almost like a basketball court. When you drop your bowl, it bounces up like 6 feet. Like it's drastic. So if you don't have a smooth delivery, your bowl is bouncing the whole way down, and like you can't really control that then. So you're forced to have a real smooth delivery that gets down and stays low right away. So you can't hear it, but you can definitely see it, which is sort of entertaining to watch. So.
Yeah, I guess yeah, when we a really poor delivery here, when it's absolutely wobbles and jumps up in the air and stuff like that, even on a normal green. I don't know if everyone across the country calls it a potato, but that's what we call it.
That's funny because I think in Ontario, at least where I'm from, we call it a turnip. So it's just a different type of vegetable. So for whatever reason, vegetables.
But on that surface you were talking about, it would end up being a super potato or a super turnip.
Yes.
It'd be jumping 3 feet in the air or something.
Super vegetables.
Yeah.
Mr. Cody Olthoff tuning in from Simcoe, Ontario.
Hey.
Wanted to know who I'm commentating with, and I believe you're familiar with him.
Yes, I am. Hi, Cody. It's David Gerard. Last time I saw you, I think, was a couple of years ago at the NAC here.
Mm-hmm.
And before that was both you and Mike McNorton bowling in, I believe it's the Nationals. But yeah, good to see you're still around. And I saw Mike on the weekend. He came here to bowl, and it was a big, what we call it, a kerfuffle. And because he didn't realize that the Nationals were on, so he didn't get the time in that he'd hoped to get in.
Good guy, Mike. He's showing up, and then, Nationals going on. I guess I can't bowl here then.
Yeah, but he had a good time anyhow, and reconnected with a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm. This is going to be a very risky end here, just because Patrick's first ball went in the ditch, and his second one here is 4 feet past the jack, so carries line 2. That's tough waters to be in, because you only have 2 balls left now. So going back to our vegetable terminology, apparently in Atlantic Canada they call it a pineapple. So there are more fruits out there or more vegetables.
Yeah, maybe the Newfies will call it a floundering cod or something like that. By the way, I love Newfies.
I might start calling it that from now on. A floundering cod.
Patrick's following his bowl down here. He's come up short. Yeah. Cut it down.
Yeah, cut it down to 2.
So their game is close. 4-3 after 3.
On the rink to our right, Dave Anderson is up 5-2 over Brian Coleman. And on our rink to the left, Charlie Taylor and John Bjornson are all tied up at 3.
Oh, okay. I took my eyes off that. John was ahead 3-0. Charlie's just made a drive shot. Oh, beauty.
Just tripled out
What
John
a
Bjornson.
beautiful shot.
Wowza.
Yeah.
On rink number 3, Richard is up 8-1 over Greg Wilson. And on the rink beside that, Huron Bartu is up 4-2 over Doug Prop.
Yeah.
Down at the end, Mike O'Reilly has 5, and
John has 3.
John Braun has 3. Oh, that's a pretty good bowl there from Gary to push Patrick out, so he's lying at least 3, I would think.
I believe so. Yeah. From well,
2 and a look. 2
Yeah.
and probably 3.
Yeah.
So what do you do here if you're Patrick? Do you just try to draw, or do you throw a drive to double out Carey's front 2 and try to get some jack movement?
Well, whatever I say, he's going to do the opposite.
Yep,
so.
exactly.
I would be inclined. My first inclination is always to drive, which is the wrong one. But I think the right shot would be to come on a forehand draw.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think that the draw is the shot to play here, even though he's been struggling with his weight. But the drive it's really only a 1-bull target, so that's a very small target to hit. So
Yeah, and if you miss it, you take your own out too.
Yep. You could potentially drop 3-4 here if you miss, whereas if you just draw, you could, even if you miss, still maybe cut the count down to 1 or 2.
Yeah. See what he does. He looks all composed now and ready to go. He's unsure. This isn't good.
Mm-hmm.
This is not good. So he's gone back again, and hopefully he'll convince himself of what shot to make.
I think he is going for a draw.
Yeah, I think so.
Nah, maybe not. Going for a trail, maybe.
Oh, that was unlucky.
I think he's dropped 3 here, I would
Yeah.
think. So that'll make it 7-3 after 4.
Charlie's Taylor's come one more, so he's 4-3 after 5 over John Bjornsson. So he's so far putting in a really good showing.
Mm-hmm.
And a little shout out again to Mom and Pa Taylor in Tisdale, Saskatchewan. And excuse me. And Charlie's sporting his pink shoelaces and belt in support of breast cancer.
Mm-hmm. And I could probably give a shout out to Patrick's wife. I believe her name is Johanna. That's a pretty good opening bull there from Patrick as he's kissed the jack on his way through. Katie Patno watching the live stream of the Indoor Championships. Nice to have you with us, Katie, down in, I guess, southwestern Ontario, Oshawa, Peterborough area.
Yeah, I was talking to Haran just before the this game, and his he doesn't want to drop any more than 1 in the next few games, so that he'll have a chance to
Advance.
motor on through.
Yeah.
But some people have been coming back to the pack too, eh?
Yes. Yes.
So that helps for him.
Yeah, the standings are a bit of a cluster, so if you're taking a look at it recently, head over to bullscanada.com and then under the championship tab, go to indoor singles and have a gander at the nice cluster of where everybody's at. Big thanks to George Cubis and all the umpires and markers here. They've all been doing a stellar job. Patrick looks a little tight on this, but it's all in the weight. He's grabbed the jack on his way through.
Yeah.
Good for 3. So Carey seemed to be struggling with his first 2. His first one came up well short, and second one well past.
Oh, it's gone for a draw.
His bowls are narrower bowls, so that looks wide to me.
Mm-hmm. Wide and short, I believe.
Yeah, he's not there.
Yeah, there's that debate over narrower and wider drawing bowls, and you know.
I'm a big fan of medium
Yeah.
in the middle.
Yeah.
But if I had to err on one side over the other, I'd want a wider bowl as opposed to a narrow bowl. It drives me nuts when I play against people who have a bowl that goes right up the middle.
Yeah. Yeah. But some people say too that with singles, a narrow bowl works fine, because you don't have as much stuff in the head, garbage in the head. But still, you can't draw in, right? It just it limits your shots.
My personal opinion is that it actually takes less skill to roll a narrow bowl and more skill to roll a wider bowl. Just because for a narrower bowl you can miss your line drastically on either side, and as long as your weight's okay, you're alright. So it almost makes it one less thing to worry about.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas for a wider bowl, you really have to hit your line, and you miss by an inch, you're nowhere near. And you also have to really get your weight, because even if you're a little bit heavy, you're just sailing through the head.
Yeah, I was when I bowled in the provincial singles this summer. The green was slow, and it was not a very good green. So, and bowling on an end rink, which is never good anywhere. You know, I mean, but I was bowling away from the ditch side. I grabbed instead of my Tigers, which are wide drawing bowls, I grabbed my Dreamline XGs, and I bowled narrow away from the ditch, and I tried to hit I aimed for the jack, and if I missed my green, it's like maybe 2 feet. So it's like
it just makes it that much easier. You can you can be nowhere near and still be pretty close.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting comment on great opening bowl from Patrick about outside rinks not being good anywhere. Just because there's one particular club in Ontario that I used to love going to back when I played, is Niagara Falls, where they only have 8 rinks, but rink 1 and rink 8 were the best rinks there.
Really?
They had super wide draws on both hands, and it was just absolutely beautiful. It was actually the middle rink, I want to say rink 4, that they avoided playing if they could, because it was their worst rink, which I thought was just really weird, because it's the exact opposite of almost every other club I've been to, because normally it's the outside rinks that are not great and the middle ones that are good.
Yeah, no, it's always especially if it's a rink that you're not green you're not familiar with, and you get drawn in an outside rink, and you're going, oh. But that's part of it. It looks like Patrick's cranking up the pressure here. It's 7-7.
Yeah, he picked up a big end there, that last end.
Yeah.
Both Patrick and Carey were playing at WOBA this past year together, and that's a fantastic tournament. Well, that's quite the shot from Carey.
Carey, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that I'll probably see them again next year at WOBA. Fantastic 3-day tournament in Ontario in 3rd week of July.
Were they bowling as a team?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't think anybody else here was at that event, so I can't say I saw anybody else that's here. But
No.
Patrick just missed on the other side.
Do any of the Eastern Province bowlers. What would you call Ontario when you live in Ontario? Do you call it Eastern?
No, I call it Central. Like
Yeah,
middle.
yeah. So say Central and Eastern Canada. Do many go down to the U.S. Open?
I would think so.
Yeah. And does that venue change every year, I wonder?
The U.S. Open? Absolutely it does.
Yeah.
So the past few years it was in Florida, in Sarasota, and this year it is in Arizona. I want to say they'll probably use 2 or 3 clubs for it, so it's not just going to be one. But I want to say that for the U.S. Open, when they host it for 2, 3, maybe 4 years at a time.
Right.
So it's always in that place for whatever that set amount of time is, and then it'll switch somewhere else. And I think it's usually just back and forth between Florida, Arizona, and California, I think, are the 3 states that host.
It's too bad we couldn't have a Canadian Open.
Well, that's definitely something on the radar that we'd like to do.
Yeah.
The tricky part is just timing, because we have so many national championships, and so many provinces have their playdowns, that there's not really a good time to have it, because if you have it in May, most of the eastern provinces are still, under snow, or just like haven't even really opened up yet, so you wouldn't ever be able to have it out east.
Yeah.
And if you have it in June or July, that's when every province is having all of their playdowns.
Mm-hmm.
So then you'd have to rework their calendar, I guess.
Yeah, it'd be difficult.
John Seitman's telling me they had a bunch of Nova Scotia bowlers that went down to Sarasota for the U.S. Open. This year it's in Arizona, and a few are going, but there are about 5 clubs that are hosting this year in Sun City for the U.S. Open.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have a real character that spends the winter down at Sun City. It's Gordie Fall. Do you know Gordie, Jake?
I do know Gord Fall. He is a character.
Yeah, he is. He's a great guy. First thing you realize with Gordie is you go to shake his hand and a few of his fingers are missing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you watch him bowl and you go, he's doing pretty good.
Yeah, how do you do that?
Considering, yeah. But I've bowled against him. He's a great guy.
John's asking what type of bowls are each of them using. Kerry's bowls seem fairly tight. So Patrick Cote is using a size 4 Henselite Dreamline XG.
Yeah.
Kerry's using an Arrow bowl, but we're not sure what model it is. We know it's Arrow, we just don't know what particular
Yes,
type. But
definitely not Groove.
Nope.
And it's probably whatever their narrowest bowl is.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it is definitely an Arrow bowl. Big thanks to our partners and sponsors, Government of Canada through Sport Canada, Coaching Association of Canada, and Kukri, our official clothing supplier. And Kerry just threw the jack into the ditch, which means Patrick now has the chance to bring the mat up to his desired length.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's in a critical time of the first set, too.
Mm-hmm. 8-7 with 3 ends to go.
I'm just having
You want to look at the Arrow chart?
Yeah.
So we'll take a educated guess at what type of Arrow bowl Kerry's using here in a minute once David's done doing his research of the Arrow draw chart.
Well, he's got yellow bowls, so it would be the one with the yellow line, right?
I think that's exactly how it works.
Indoor. Let's see if I can get that to blown up a little bit. Keep forgetting. Oh, it might be a minute here.
Well, while David's working on that, feel free to ask us any other questions or shout-outs. With Patrick just hung his head here, I don't know if he likes this bowl, but I'm not sure why. It's looking pretty good to me. He was looking up at the ceiling as if he didn't like it, and that's
right on the jack.
That's right on the jack. I'm kind of confused by his reaction to that.
I would think that my guess would be Defiance or Optima.
I'm going to say I just got a text from Cody saying Optima, so that's his guess.
Yeah. Hey, Cody. Great minds think alike.
And John Seitman just said it could be an Optima. It's a tighter bias for North America, but middle bias for faster greens.
Yeah.
So could be. Could be.
As I told Jake before, I have a bit of an interest in bowls and how they draw and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find the one that will work for me. It's too bad you couldn't have an adjustable one to change the bias.
To change the bias?
Yeah.
Swap out the part?
Yeah, or even turn part of it so that
Turn part of it? Change the dial on it?
Yeah.
It's a funny thing, the different types of bowls and different types of draws, and I'm going to tell a story I've told many times before. When I was playing in WOBA, I don't know, 10 years back, I was playing with a guy named Rob Rienzo, and he was using bowls that were called Vitalites, and I'm told those were big back in like the 80s and 90s, and I don't even know if they exist anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But they were the widest bowls I've probably ever seen, and when I first met him, because I'd never met him before, he asked to skip because he said his bowls were too wide to play lead. And I just sort of scratched my head because I didn't understand how that's even possible. And so when we were playing, I was trying to call a shot for him to draw through a port that was, like a 10-foot hole. And he said, "I can't do that, my bowls are too wide." And so I just sort of scratched my head and walked away thinking, I don't know how to call a head for you if you can't draw through a hole that's 10 feet wide. I don't know how to call shots for you. But his bowls were just the widest bowls I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful bowl from Kerry.
Yeah. And I discuss things a lot, and I can never remember if I'd done it on air or not before. So I'm, it's quite possible I've mentioned this before, but I know, like, I have two sets of bowls. One is the Dreamline XGs, and the other is the Tiger. So I'm familiar with Henselite bowls, and Dreamline XGs, nice narrow bowl, and Tigers, fair bowls. One is the, it's out there, it's good for outdoor and even indoor, because some of the really good bowlers, world-class bowlers, use it indoor. But I usually deliver it not too bad, and I get a nice wide draw to it, and other people will deliver the same bowl with like 3 feet narrower.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's got to be something to do with
how you hold it, like how it's
and the delivery, and
mm-hmm.
yeah, it's interesting. You won't see that so much with the narrower bowls because there's less difference between the two.
Right.
Maybe someone knows a little bit about that out there in bowling land.
So unfortunately our camera angle isn't really set up to be able to see a jack in the ditch right now, but Patrick just bear jacked it into the ditch. Kerry's last bowl just trickled into the ditch, so right now lots of space for Patrick's last bowl to draw in anywhere close, anywhere near the tee will get you in the count. Just have to be Kerry's bowl in the top right corner there.
Oh, so it's Patrick's that's in the ditch, toucher or whatever. They've got two.
Yeah, so Patrick's toucher's in the ditch right next to the jack.
Oh, what a beautiful shot.
And he has just drawn the ditch to be good for two.
Yeah, excellent.
Up and back for this set.
And on this green, I always mention the markers. That's my sort of thing when I'm not doing this. And is on rank 6 is Malcolm Taylor. The one that we are watching is his wife Marie.
Mm-hmm.
They're both very good bowlers. They've won, I believe, national championships and are members of this club. And on rank 4 is my identical twin brother, Jim Duholke, who is silver.
Yeah, silver at the singles.
At the singles national. Yeah, we always get confused with each other. Jim's not too happy about that. I am. More medals in my pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then Serge.
Serge Panu.
Panu, thank you. I have a difficulty with his last name. He's the president of
PIBC.
PIBC, so it's nice to see. He was marking yesterday too, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And Number 2, I cannot see. I'll have to wait till he moves up. Number 1, yeah, it's kind of hard.
I think it's
I
Eric
think
Aaron.
Diane Fulton.
Diane's on 1. I think it's
Yeah.
Eric on 2.
Yeah, Diane's another very accomplished bowler, and she's she's still a good bowler. You know, it's like it's amazing. It's like riding a bicycle, I guess. You can get back on it and go.
So Rob Gallipo is telling me that Kerry is using Aero Profiles.
Okay, they're actually they're in the right in the middle, a little narrower than the Quantum, and then so with Aero bowls they go narrowest is Optima, then Defiance, then Profile, Quantum / Revolution, and then Groove, and then Sonic is the widest. Thanks for that, Rob.
So this has been a pretty interesting 3 bowls of this end, with Kerry dragging it back 6 feet on his first and then Patrick putting it in the ditch.
Yeah.
I'll do my best to get rid of the scoreboard there, so bear with me. If he stops, that's a beautiful bowl.
Yeah, he's got ditch weight really good, both ends. I think we need to train the markers to put markers on top of the.
Yeah, so we can see it from here. Yeah.
So we know where the jack. Yeah. Never satisfied. Here's some weight. Oh. Stick to zone. Yeah, it looks like Charlie on rink 4, the one to the left, is about to bowl the final bowl, I believe, of that end, of that set.
Yep, last bowl of the set. John Bjornson's up 7-5. Last end of the first set.
And he's holding, John is. So Charlie's coming in with weight. Oh. So I don't know what John got there.
But John Bjornson won the first set over Charlie Taylor anyway.
Yeah.
And Dave Anderson took the first set over Brian Cullman. So we'll see how good Patrick is at caterpillaring, because you don't need to change much still. Just keep drawing the ditch. I don't know if I'd really want to end up where his other one is, though, just because then it makes it a bigger target, so I think I agree with his decision to switch hands here, just because you don't want to be anywhere near your last one.
Yeah.
You don't want to make that target any bigger. He's playing with a lot of weight here. That's not going to help your cause.
Kerry's made his mind up.
Mm-hmm. I would have to think he's still going to be trying to drive Patrick's ball off.
Yeah. Good thing is it's just a short. Oh, no, that's off.
And that is well narrow. So that's 1, maybe 2 for Patrick, I think. Just 1.
Yeah.
All right. So going into the last end of the first set, Patrick Cote is up 10-8.
Yeah. On rink 1, which is the furthest one away to the left, is John Braun and Mike O'Reilly, and Mike took the first set.
Mm-hmm.
John, excuse me, John was 3-0 ahead after the first end. Oh, and Heren and Doug are in a real battle there. 8-8-8. And I can't see the other one. But I can see that Richard took the first set against Greg.
So Patrick's got the tee covered already, which not a great opening bowl, but also not terrible just because he's holding a 2-point lead, so he's already got the tee covered.
Yeah.
And Kerry is just kissed the jack on his way through, so given that they both like to fire, I wouldn't be surprised if Patrick actually intentionally drew the tee with his first. Not that I would necessarily recommend that strategy, but he told me yesterday that he quickly realized that he fires a lot here, and so he always tries to get a back bowl with his second bowl. So.
Yeah, one thing that that really surprised me. I watched that. I don't remember everything like a lot of bowlers do. The shot, la da 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 da. But when Ryan Bester played against Aaron,
yep, in the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah, in the Commonwealth Games for the gold medal. It might have been the third or fourth end in or something like that. Ryan wasn't doing too bad, and then Ryan drew to the close to the jack, and then Aaron drove on his first bowl.
Yep, I do remember that.
And it just blew me away. He made the shot, and then suddenly that just changes the whole game, right?
And apparently that's how Aaron plays. He does that quite frequently. Will drive on his first bowl. So
yeah.
Patrick's got to grab the jack on his way through. Nope. I don't know if that's going to be good enough for a second shot. Kerry asked if he can come down. He's going to come down and take a look.
Yeah. I wonder if Charlie's going to hit here. Yeah, looks like it.
Missed drive from Charlie Taylor to give another 2 to John Bjornsson.
Jim's probably saying to himself, I would have made that.
When we were talking about driving on the first bowl, John Siteman's saying apparently Aaron does that a lot, but when you have the skill to drive to the ditch like he does, it's an okay strategy. And he also saw Alex Marshall do it once in an indoor test series for Scotland to win the event on the first bowl.
Well, yeah.
Driving on the first bowl is sometimes an okay strategy if you're actually good at it, but definitely not something I would recommend for everyone.
And I would imagine that if you miss, you got to almost drive on your second, unless the situation changes.
Yeah, that's interesting. When I was in Australia for the World Youth Championships a while ago, we had Maria Rigby. She's a somewhat famous international player, I suppose. She's won a few things. She had Priscilla and I training where we were just bare jacking it into the ditch from the hog line, and it's actually kind of impressive how good you can be at it on a true surface like that if you practice enough. And like, it wasn't a full out drive, it was just sort of a just reaching the ditch type weight, but you can actually get pretty consistent, pretty accurate with it if you practice for half an hour to an hour of just bare jack into the ditch.
Yeah.
Which is a very strange strategy though, because if you miss, you just threw your first ball in the ditch. So.
Well, yeah, but if the jack is at the tee, right?
Right. If it's at the tee, then I mean it's not too far to go. But
yeah, and also your opponent can, if he's a bit heavy, can still still roll his first in the ditch, although he probably won't because he's going,
Yeah.
this is a good opportunity
Yeah.
for me. Yeah, I tend to overthrow when I drive, so.
I fully expect Kerry to throw some weight here at Patrick's bowl to pick it.
So do you think he's going to go heavy, or?
Heavy reaching the ditch that it would make a thud.
Right. And bowl backhand into it.
That looks like forehand to me.
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Yeah,
it
it's
is
forehand. Yeah.
But I would have expected more weight than this, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. But he's got it, I think. Oh,
Nope.
just missed.
Wow.
Yeah. I think I would have gone backhand there, but that's me. And I always want to do opposite of what they do, and they're much better bowlers than I am.
I think I would have gone backhand too, because then if you get out wide, you could have pushed yours in.
Right. There's less likelihood of, you push his out, if anything, almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just the angles. Unless you go real narrow and just catch the edge of it. Oh, it looks like Huron got the first set by the skin of his teeth, and they're starting the second between Doug Prop from Saskatchewan and Huron Bartu from BC. And let's see. Rink 1, John's making a pushback. He's ahead 6-0 after 3 ends in the second set. He's behind 1 set, but in a lot of the games that John's played so far, he has dropped the first set, but manages to come back with a vengeance.
So that's definitely not the start you want. Patrick put the jack on the tee, but then threw his first ball in the ditch. So
Yeah.
maybe reminiscent of what I was just talking about, of trying to put the jack in the ditch on your first ball, and then if you miss, you just threw your first ball in the ditch. So we'll see if Kerry does the same thing.
Yeah. That'll be interesting.
Now this is a big, wide, swoopy hand, so that should be narrow, but since he's using such a narrow bowl, maybe it's not. But
Yeah.
he's got pace on this too. If he doesn't grab the jack on his way through, he's in the ditch too.
Oh, wow.
Yep, there it goes.
They play like me. I shouldn't say that. Whenever I make comments like that, it's not no malice intended. Now, here's bowl number 3.
Well, definitely staying on the rink this time anyway.
Yeah. You got to err on the side of caution.
Still coming pretty quickly. That's probably shot though.
Yeah.
Just kissed it on its way through.
Mhm.
Patrick's third bowl, I would almost be tempted to drive at that just because there's literally only one other bowl on the rink.
Yeah. Well, one thing I noticed, I'll let you.
I was just going to say that looked a little bit narrow, but it held up quite a bit. Yeah,
Mhm.
the weight held it up. You were going to say?
Oh, on rink 6 is David from Ontario, and
Brian Tillman.
or sorry, yeah, David and Brian.
Yeah.
But David I marked one of his games, and he can just make a really nice cluster of bowls. He just goes in there. Like he's already got 2 really close to the jack here. That one's in behind, but it's in a really good spot too.
That's interesting bowls here with Gary's first one in the ditch and then his next two within 6 inches.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick's throwing some weight here again. Needs to find a friend.
Found one.
Yeah, that cuts the damage.
I wonder if that was a toucher. I don't think so.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
So Murray just moved the sticker to say where it is in the ditch. So Rob Gallipo's asking, maybe we talked about this already, in case you haven't, are there any plans for an indoor facility in the east? So talked a little bit about this, about how Patrick Cote has been working on short mat, and JJ mat bowling is a thing in Toronto, and close. And how that's probably the most viable option, just because you don't need to have a full facility like this for short mat. You only need whatever it is, 45 feet by 8 feet, whatever it is. So
Yeah, you can go crossways on these greens.
right.
Yeah, they're 50, whatever. Yeah, around 50.
To set up a short mat facility the way that Patrick has, he's just using a church gym right now, which is, the building infrastructure is already there. To build an indoor facility like this, like the PIBC, that's going to cost a substantial amount of money. And I heard a rumor that this building, which has a gymnastic studio upstairs, when it was built, it cost $5.3 million, of which for bowls they ponied up, I think, $3.2 million of it through sponsors, donations, funds that they had kicking around. Whether that full 3.2 went to just the PIBC Bulls part, or whether it went to elsewhere in the building, I'm not sure, but it's a lot of money to build a quality facility, and even just the carpet alone, without having the actual building, I want to say that that's in the ballpark of $500,000 right there just for the carpet, to get it, the underlay, laser leveled, get the carpet here and actually installed. So plans for an indoor facility in the east, I can't say for certain no, but I would hazard a guess that not for a little while yet, until funds can be gathered to do so.
Yeah, and one thing about here is that previous to this, they did have a facility too. So, so they've had facilities here for years. So I think that's also a mindset, that you get into it. We've got a facility, and I don't know what the situation was, but if it was that they had to close it down for whatever reasons, then they're going to be really want to replace it with something, right?
Yes.
And so this was what happened, I guess.
Yeah, that's almost sort of the trickiest part, is if you can convince the city or town or whatever that to build one. Then if you have to relocate or move or whatever, then it's already there, so they're just replacing it. They're not starting from scratch.
Right. There's a lot of advantages. You've already got the membership too. Yeah, just a lot of things like that. So, but Ontario, I'm sure you guys can do something. I really am.
That's such an interesting topic with Ontario, because since it's the biggest province, it also has the most restrictions, regulations, rules, hoops you have to jump through, because I want to say almost every sport has their head office in Ontario, usually in Ottawa, sometimes in Toronto. And so since every sport is there, every sport is asking for funding, piece of the pie, so that's why there's a lot of tighter regulations and rules, because they can't just go and give money to anybody who asks for it. So there has to be some sort of procedure to decide, why does this sport get more, that sport get less, or whatever. So so there's a lot more hoops to jump through in Ontario, just because there's more people there.
Yeah.
So it makes it trickier, but not impossible. I think if you have the right people and the right amount of time, you could get something going. It's a beautiful bowl from Patrick. And Sarah Van Stein, tuning in from Ontario, is saying that Rob should just build the indoor.
I was just suggesting, I don't know if he should build it, but he could get involved, spearhead it. Anyhow, I have to take a quick break here.
Fair enough. Happy to see that there's a little bit of chatter on Facebook and Twitter, so for anybody else who's watching, if you want to reach out to us, Facebook or Twitter, at BCB Bowls on Twitter and at BCB Official on Facebook. We'd love to hear from you. As you can hear in the background on the rink to the left, Charlie Taylor just threw a drive, got a rebounding jack. And cleared out all of his bowls, and John Bjornsson is sitting at like 3 on the spot. Unfortunate result there. So in the game in front of us here, Carey's just delivered his last bowl, and wide and heavy. Patrick has one more to come. Pretty wide open draw there to just keep piling it in. On the rink to my right, David Anderson is up 6-0 over Brian Cullman in the 4th end of the 2nd set. Dave Anderson did win the 1st set. Hiren Bartu picked up the 1st set in his match against Doug Prop. And Richard Yao picked up the 1st set in his game against Greg Wilson. They're currently tied up at 4 in the 2nd set. Not sure if that's going to be enough to be in the count. Didn't quite see what the count was for that. I'm going to assume it was 2 to Patrick, but I'll wait for them to adjust the scoreboard and go from there. So the mat is up quite a pace, so this is a medium length jack, give or take. And Patrick's drawing around about a mat length behind. It was actually only 1 for Patrick that last end. Matching bowl for bowl. And for all your up-to-date standing scores results, head over to bowlscanada.com. Under the championship tab, go to the indoor singles. You can see where everybody stands in the standings. Almost the exact same bowl from Patrick here. Not much of an adjustment there. It was actually a dog. It was a dog? Yeah, it was a blind dog. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it was a dog. We have one of the players just wrote me a little note saying she was behind us last night. So when I drive home, Patrick Cote driving us back to the hotel, there was a blind dog that just ran out in front of the road, and so he stopped the car, got out, and put the dog in someone's backyard. So one of the players was behind us and saw us do that and said, you know, it's a good Samaritan act. So hats off to Patrick for stopping in the middle of the road to go and save a dog. There's a port there. Will he grab the jack on his way through? He will, but that's not the result Carey was looking for. That's still 2 to Patrick. to say it's an easy shot here for Patrick, but really not much danger to just come down and draw to the jack. If you're a little wide, you can come in off of Kerry's bull. Really no harm here, so I would expect him to at least be reaching. This looks like it's in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Just sliding through, a little kiss on its way through.
I don't think it's in the count, but it's in a good spot.
I'm really confused why Kerry just walked all the way down there to come now all the way back and then back down again. I see that happen quite a few times actually, and not just from Kerry but from other players here, where they're standing down here at the head, they'll walk down to the mat and then come back down to the head and then go back down to the mat, and it just sort of confuses me because you were just here, nothing's changed.
Yeah, yeah. I get second thoughts or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I find sometimes I go back to the mat and certain things look a little more inviting to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm. So Kerry has indicated he is going to throw weight at this, which I'm confused by, just because your position.
Well, before he hits, if he had wider bowls, he could come in onto his two and split Patrick's out. Right?
I guess, yeah. Yeah, okay.
From that side?
Yeah. From the other hand, okay, all right.
That's what I was looking at. But
yeah, okay, I see it now.
But you're limited with the bowls because they're really straight bowls. So
yeah.
There's really, I don't know if you could have hit it heavy enough to do the split.
So that was 2 to Patrick then to make it a 3-1 game.
Owen Rink won.
John Braun is having his way with Mike O'Reilly.
Yeah. Yeah, John probably wasn't too happy about dropping the first set, so.
He's got that second set all locked up already, and they still have another 2 ends to go.
3, well, oh yeah, because they're finishing.
Yeah, they just finished it, yeah.
And that, Heren and Doug, their game is really, it's close. Heren barely sneaked through on the first set, and it's 1-1 after 2 ends in the second.
Great opening volley from Patrick.
Mm-hmm. And he just got almost promoted.
Making that target just a little bit more juicy to come into.
Mm-hmm. I expect this one should be behind the jack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's definitely added some weight to this. And since he told me yesterday he likes to get a back bowl with the second bowl, that's not surprising at all.
Don't tell all of Patrick's secrets.
I wish I had more to tell.
Oh, here's a tee. So Kerry's got the tee covered, I believe.
Yep. Which makes me wonder if he's planning something for his 3rd and 4th bowl here. I believe Patrick's already lying 2, and I would hope he moves the jack. That's... yeesh.
Makes it hard. You think?
I was going to say it makes
Oh,
that target just look a little bit juicier for Kerry here down at the mat to fire at. Because now there's not even a port between Jack and Bull. And I think Kerry's close.
He's got the Jack.
Yep.
Perfect shot. Hopefully he burned it, because then it would come back to the tee. Apparently not. Umpires are going to have a look at the Jack to see whether it's in and out, or in or out. It's actually quite a. The outcome may be kind of significant here, because he's lying too with the Jack if the Jack's still in the ditch, but if it's burnt, then it comes out to the tee, and I think he's.
Might only be one.
Well, it might be two, but it's a better spot for it for.
Gives Patrick a better chance. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Let's see where it comes to.
And it was a dead Jack, so it's back on the tee now.
Yeah. So see where it is now. The Jack can be moved to either two of Kerry's bowls, or there's a lot more good things can happen, I believe.
Certainly makes it a lot easier for Patrick here with his last bowl to come in and sort of save himself a bit. So Kerry's toucher from his last bowl is almost directly in the center of the ditch, like directly below the number 5.
Yeah.
Is where that is, and then you can see shot bowl just behind the Jack. Still could be potentially 2 for Kerry based off of his toucher in the ditch, so you don't necessarily have to be perfect here if you're Patrick. You can just draw a second shot, and that still helps.
Yeah, yeah. But there again, Kerry has last bowl as well, but be interesting to see what happens here.
I wouldn't be surprised if Patrick gets one close if Kerry just tries to drive it off with his last one.
Yeah.
But Patrick looks heavy.
I don't know. Oh, beautiful shot.
Just stayed on without going in the ditch, so that is technically second shot.
Now here's the other thing too, is that, it just flopped on its side, which makes it slightly harder to move, I guess, but do we know how close it is to the...
To the ditch? No, I can't see. It's right off the camera.
So, if it's really close to the ditch, which I feel it is, it's like a heavy draw into that bowl, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, just a heavy draw into it, and you can still stay alive and count 3.
Yeah. Because there's... yeah. And where it is, I don't know if it's far enough off the beaten track there to for him to be 2 down or not, or 2 up. I mean, sorry.
I think he's just drawing.
Yeah. It's got to be what he's trying to do, but he came up light, I think. Oh no, he's got it. I thought he had it late.
So that'll be 2 for Kerry to tie things up at 3.
You don't think the toucher in the ditch is in the count, eh?
I don't think so. I think that Patrick's last bowl is his 3rd shot.
Yeah.
And Kerry is quick to flip the scoreboard, so we'll see in a second if it... Yeah, it was just 2. All tied up after 4.
Yeah, that's the thing about this set. So as long as if you can get that second set after losing the first set, it's very, very helpful. It's like you have a new life, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Get your momentum going. Get your mojo going. Rink to our right, Davey Anderson's up 6-3 after 5 against Brian Coleman in the second set. Brian's down there measuring. Shortish, medium length jack again. Matt's up. Jack's not quite to the tee.
That Claire Day is being a troublemaker again. Claire's been here for I don't know how many years I've been involved with the indoor, but she's been here pretty much every year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, wonderful lady.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to see her.
Mm-hmm. Good weight, just mat length narrow.
Yeah, I guess this when I looked at the score on rink 1, John's up in double figures in the second set, right?
Mm-hmm.
Behind one set, but I was thinking this is really critical because of the kind of logjam in the standings. It's critical for people to get as many points as they can right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because since ties are all on paper, you want to make sure you have the best plus minus you can, so in case it does come down to that,
Yeah.
you're putting yourself in the best position you can. So if you want to find out about how the tie-breaking procedure works, head over to the Bowls Canada website, and under the championship tab, there should be a section under conditions of play.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it's down near the bottom of section 4. Not sure what page it is, but you can read all about the tie-breaking procedure. It's a beautiful shot there from Patrick. Got a nice little rub in. Will it hold up in time? Or will it crash? Just got too thick of a chunk of Patrick's short bowl. Do you get a back bowl here if you're Patrick, or do you just keep trying to draw into the head?
I'd try and put something between those two bowls if I can, or that side of the jack between his opponent's bowls. But he's going for the back, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe not.
Maybe not. Ooh. That's... doesn't really help your cause too much.
No.
Still a pretty juicy looking trail for 3 or potentially even 4 for Kerry on his last bowl. Almost the same bowl that Kerry just threw would do it, because now that he chunked Patrick's short bowl over, he can play that same line.
Yeah.
And it looks like he could be in the ballpark, but he definitely dropped the weight. It's bending hard.
Oh, it's
Good for 2.
yeah. No.
But now Patrick can play almost the exact same shot, and bowl or jack, and he can count 1 or 2 if he makes it. Kind of trickier for Patrick to not be able to throw a full-out drive. I'm not sure how comfortable he is with throwing, just sort of overweight, swinger weight to
Right.
not be full out.
He could get away with yard on there probably.
Yeah. Yep.
Either stop on the back bowl, or if he's lucky, he'll grab the jack. It's a little heavier than I thought,
This is
but
much heavier than I was expecting.
it may work.
He's got it.
Yeah. Oh, unlucky. But improved it.
Heavier than I was expecting.
It may work.
He's got it.
Can you see the score on rink 3, which is Greg and
Yeah.
Richard?
Greg's up 7-6 over Richard after 8.
Okay. So that's tight.
But the fact they're not playing makes me think that
It's over, yeah.
it could be over, yeah.
Yeah. Which means Richard won or tied the second set. It's sort of a 3/4 length jack this time, so.
Slightly longer than when we've been playing the other way.
Must mean that they're bowling downhill that way.
It's funny how many times when you're playing on an outdoor green, you might think that because people are short going one way and heavy going the other. But
Yeah.
pretty sure that wouldn't be the case here, as
Not indoor, no.
they
no.
usually leveled this thing like 2 or 3 times before putting it in, so
Yeah.
quite level, quite flat.
But some of the outdoor rinks do slope, and the ones on the North Shore, as far as I know, they slope slightly towards the ocean.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're on a hillside, and that's part of the reason, I guess. But and that's one of those home club advantages, if you know that that's the case. Then you can bowl accordingly.
A couple of beautiful opening bowls from both players here. Kerry put one
Yeah.
within a mat length, and Patrick just drew the jack cold.
This one's looking good to punch the bowl out. Oh,
Just wide.
yeah. And it's in the ditch.
In the ditch, wow. I wouldn't be surprised if Patrick's going to throw one back around in behind. Trying to get behind it, maybe tuck the jack in behind too.
Oh, nice.
I'm not sure how I feel about that placement, just because since Kerry just threw his last ball in the ditch, he's clearly
Gonna, yeah.
like playing way like he likes to be up, so could double both of Patrick's out there.
It's not far off.
He dropped his weight substantially on that.
Yeah.
If he would have had the same weight with his first, he would have probably made more of a commotion.
I think I'm gonna have to have a word with Kerry when he comes back and make sure that he doesn't follow his bowl in my when it's between me and the jack, so I can see what's going on. I don't know. The manners.
Definitely want to change something up here from Patrick,
Oh
because
yeah.
the split looks way too easy there.
Yeah. That is a big target.
Yeah, that is huge. Yikes.
Although one of his that left hand that bowl, center line bowl of Kerry's is kind of, but all he has to do is come a little wide, and he's got. I don't know how they set up depth wise.
I think I'd be licking my chops if I'm Kerry. You can get a triple there. You
Yeah.
can triple all of Patrick's bowls out if you hit it right. That's yikes. But at the same time, if he misses, you're down 3 and Patrick still has last bowl.
Yeah.
So, but no, that is a juicy looking target that I would for sure be throwing weight at.
If you don't throw heavy, what do? Just draw into the pile?
I mean, that is an option to just score 1, because it is a nice wall to rest against. But
He's got something. Got 2 of them. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to resist that.
but
He's got something.
now Patrick just has to draw in another one. He can score 2. So we've got a statistician saying that after 8 rounds in the men's side, 65% of the first set winners win the match in 2 straight. So how important is that first set?
65%?
Yeah, 65% so far here today. If you won the first set, you won the game in 2 straight.
Well, what's John's percentage, I wonder?
John Bjornsson or John Brown?
John Brown.
John Brown? I have no idea.
That'd be interesting to have to look on back on all of them.
Could almost make the argument that if you win the first set, then that means that you're feeling it, your motivation, your confidence, whatever, can sort of carry you over into the next set.
Right.
And even if you tie that second set, you still win it in 2 sets. So
yeah.
I think that kind of makes sense to me, that if you win the first set, that you're more likely to win the game.
Yeah, I think so too.
Thank you, statistician.
Yes. And yeah, that makes sense too, because you've got 2 cracks at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You win the first set, you got 2 cracks at it. You either win the second set or the tie break.
Yep.
What else is in your favor? You can get away with a tie in the second set if you won the first set.
Yep.
It'd be interesting to ask some of the bowlers after, or maybe you've done this before, if they think that bowling in front of the cameras affects their play.
I have actually asked some players this, because this is year number 3 now that I've been at National Championship streaming. So I've asked some of them, and most of them say no, it doesn't affect them. They don't even think about it. But it still surprises me how many people will talk to me between games after game saying, "Oh, don't televise my game," or "Don't put me on TV," or whatever. So like they're clearly conscious of it and thinking of it, but yet when I talk to people who were on air after the game, like, "Hey, did it affect you?" And most of them just say, "No, not really. I didn't even think about it."
Yeah. For me personally, I've done it a couple times, and it's good for me. Some people don't like it. It's good for me because it makes me really think that I don't want to make a total disgrace of myself, and like, it puts good pressure on me.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me think of my setup and all that kind of stuff. Am I looking good for the camera? No.
So to answer your question about John Braun, he's 67% of the time when he wins the first set, he wins in straight sets.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I was thinking the reverse, but that's okay.
Drive next door here from Charlie Taylor.
Oh. It's hard to say.
Got John Bjornsson's bowl out to be line 2, I believe. Not that you can see that on camera.
Charlie's having fun.
He is. He's having a good time. Well, he's trying to play spoiler, so.
Yeah. He's throwing a lot of weighted shots, so he's having to join himself. I don't think he can get 7. I don't think he can get 8 in this last end here to win the second set, but he's trying. Oh.
So Patrick Cote laying 2 here, his last bowl. It's the best back, but it doesn't have the tee covered because that's where Carey's bowl is. Well, it's a good effort.
Yep.
Still 2 for Patrick, though. So what do you do if you're Patrick here? I don't really want to make that target any bigger because all Kerry has right now is just a cold draw. So I'd almost want to stay away from that and just keep trying to get the tee.
Yeah, tee. I go for tee. And even stop on Kerry's bowl near the tee if you can.
If you can get between those two of Kerry's, it's
That's
a
a
good place.
really good shot, it looks like.
Yep, that looks
coming,
just about
coming.
perfect.
Yeah.
Not quite enough, I don't think, but I mean,
Oh,
good
they're
effort, and
yeah.
I like the strategy of what he was trying to do there.
Look at that head, though, eh?
Yeah.
It's
all
just a straight line.
Yeah, everybody has their line here.
Yeah.
And even though it is set up really well for Patrick right now, there is still, a fair bit of space for Kerry to come in and draw, and he can just rest Patrick's bull that's behind the jack there for one.
Yeah, and he's got to. This isn't the time to be greedy.
No. 5-4, playing the 7th end. He definitely needs to make this, otherwise these next 2 ends are going to sort of be really have Patrick in the driver's seat. So
Yeah.
sort of a crucial part of the match right here. Could be in the ballpark.
Yeah. Oh, light. Light.
Needed another 4 feet.
Yeah.
So that'll be 2 to Patrick to give him a 7-4 lead with 2 to go.
Yeah. 7-4.
Up and back.
Yeah, and Kerry is looking to get 2 per end, and he'll be okay, right?
Yeah.
Run it into a
2 per end would do it.
tie break.
And it's always nice to be in the driver's seat right now.
Yeah.
When you're in this position that Patrick's in right now, are you thinking about the score, or are you still thinking about just play my game, just want to draw, get him close? Like, what's going through your head right now? Because for me, I'm looking at the score and I'm doing the math and I'm thinking stuff like that, which is really not a good thing.
I'm kind of doing that, but hoping that I can just draw to the jack. I mean, it's that's what the game's all about. And think you can't plan for everything either, right? So you can't run the whole end and ahead of you saying, well, if I go here and he goes there, and just got to at least get a couple bowls in and then maybe make a plan. I don't know.
I find that this is sort of my downfall, is that in singles, whether it's points or sets, is that I'll get to this stage and I'm starting to think about the math of for sets, only 2 ends to go, I'm up 3, means I need to count 1 here to be up 4 going home or whatever. I'm doing those scenarios in my head. And if it's points, I'm thinking once I get to 17, I'm within striking distance, I just need 4, and then I'm starting to, still doing the math, which is really not a good thing, not what you should be doing, and that's
No.
tricky to overcome for me.
Excellent. John just walked by and said that he got the win. John Braun against Michael Riley. So it was a tie break.
Thank you very much, Malcolm. Good job again, bud. Well done, buddy.
What do you do if you're Patrick here? Try for the tee, try for a back pull, or try to...
Anywhere from how far in front of the tee is the jack?
'Cause the tee is...
3 feet.
Yeah, 3 feet from the jack right now.
Yeah, I would try and put something. Aim for tee. If you're a little heavy, you're towards his bowl, your opponent's bowl.
I think that's what he was trying for, and he just got out wide.
And the other thing that Kerry, this is something I try to do, but it doesn't always work, and I don't always remember to do it. Kerry really just needs a mat. That's all he needs. He just needs 1 point. So if you get into your head, oh, that's a nice shot. That's 2 there. He just trailed the jack to the ditch.
It's about a foot to the side of the number, to the right. So now if you're Patrick, you're down 2. It's your last bowl. Do you try to drive off one of Kerry's? Obviously one's a touch-up, the other one I don't think it is, so you could drive that off. Or do you just try to draw the ditch?
I think you got to draw. Because he made 2 really good draws a couple ends ago. One end after the other right to the ditch. Oh, he rubbed.
Didn't need that rub, that
No.
didn't help. Big chance here for Kerry to pick up 3 potentially and tie the game going into the last end of the second set here. So
Yeah.
actually quite a lot of space to draw too. He's got probably 4 or 5 feet radius that he can be within.
Yeah, he's looks like he's setting up to go backhand, maybe.
No, I saw it, but it wasn't on camera.
Yeah, he's going backhand. Wants to sneak past that ball.
Yeah, if he's past it, then
Yeah, he is. Right on. That works.
should probably be good for 3.
See, he was kind of tough with those bowls. That's almost a tough shot
Yes.
because you got to make sure you miss the ones in front. And yeah,
Can't really just
yeah.
draw
It didn't
around
matter what hand he drew on. He had to.
all in the weight.
Yeah, he had to navigate past some bowls.
So big end here. Will we be going to a tiebreak or will Patrick win in straight sets?
We'll answer that question in a couple of minutes.
Got some of the women's matches starting already. Ranked to our right is
Yeah.
Betty Van Wellingham against Liz Jones, and on the left we have Pauline Wong against Linda Ng. The only other men's game going on right now is between Doug Prop and Haren Bartu,
Yeah,
of which Haren
he's ahead,
is
8-4
he's
after
up.
7. Yeah, and he'll be tough to take out here, but
Mhm.
I think Doug is motivated from yesterday. Him and Charlie had that close game in.
Yes. So this is probably the longest length that we've seen all match, I think.
Yeah,
I don't think we've seen it stretched out quite like this. Not often anyway, if we have.
no, that's the longest for sure.
I wonder, well, actually, I do remember we had one on the tee earlier, and both players threw their first ball in the ditch.
Yeah, but I
So-
think the mat was the mat further up.
I think the mat was further up, too.
Yeah.
So the mat's back a fair bit now, not far from the tee, so
This is close.
almost full length. And Kerry just grabbed the white, trailed it 3 or 4 feet
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
on his
he's
first bowl. Yikes. Gonna take the scoreboard off here just to make it that much easier to see.
yeah. The problem with that is, it's a toucher, so
Mm-hmm.
you tap it in the ditch, it's still live.
Did Patrick throw it?
I don't think so.
Did he throw it? It's still tracking. It's still tracking.
Almost.
Almost. Not short by much. That's a very usable bowl, though, because now
Oh
you,
yeah.
you can throw some weight at that if you wanted to and get a double.
But even for Kerry, it's usable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Come in on the inside rub of it, but
Yeah, or even he can come onto either two of those bowls with a little bit of extra weight and
yeah.
shouldn't have any adverse effects.
Yeah, that's an interesting strategy. I actually kind of like that if he were to be playing
Yeah,
some
he's
weight
just
onto
wide.
this.
He's just wide.
He's wide in the ditch
That's
on this.
that's good weight. That or maybe a little bit heavier. For the shot, I was thinking of.
To push him onto the jack into the ditch to really
Yeah.
seal it.
Yeah, and also maybe you know, if he's a little skinny, then he might be able to knock Patrick's bull into the ditch, and
Yeah.
it becomes dead or out of play, or however you
I
want.
think Patrick took weight off on this by quite a bit. That's not going to be here.
No.
If he would have added weight, he could chip his second shot there into carry, into the jack, into the head.
Mm-hmm. But it's pretty, well, it seems obvious to me that Kerry's got to stick with his forehand here. I think if Kerry can bowl almost the identical bowl and just tighten it up a bit, come in a little narrower.
Yep. Yeah, I like that strategy too, because you don't want to just draw into it, because then you're changing angles, making it easier for Patrick, and you could seal the set by doing this.
It's wide.
It is very wide.
But it's coming in now too. Look at that. Make a liar out of me.
But that changes things substantially, because now Patrick can come down and throw a drive at that and potentially double them out without moving the jack.
Not only that, but Patrick has 2 chances.
He has 2 chances at it, that's true.
Depending on what happens, but you know. So if you miss the first time and Kerry doesn't do anything to change the head too much, then he's...
I think that Patrick needs to switch hands. His first 2 are kind of in his way now. I think I would switch hands and throw some weight at that.
Yeah, same shot that
Kerry.
Kerry's got, but heavier.
Yeah.
Don't be worried about knocking your bowl out, because you're already down 2.
Yeah, you're already down 2. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All you need is 1 to win the set, so...
And a hush from over the crowd.
Gonna take his time and really visualize this.
Yeah.
It's great when you have 2 cracks at it, but you always want to make it on your first.
Yeah.
The pressure on this shot is not nearly as much as it would be for the next one.
And if I was him, I'd come in with a lot of weight. And the reason for that is you got a better chance of burning the jack, right?
He is throwing weight, and I think he's tight.
Yeah. So he's got 1 more. That's good weight for that, because you don't know exactly what's going to happen with the jack, and you're going to be pushing a toucher in the ditch. And you want that jack to burn if you can. Then it comes back up to the tee, and you're...
Yeah, and you're laughing.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned yesterday, when the jack was in the ditch, it can roll sideways.
Oh,
it's not
easy.
sand. So
Yeah.
if you have that kind of weight, it's definitely possible to still kill the jack, even if it goes straight into the ditch, just because it can roll sideways.
I don't know how many times I've done the opposite, where I don't want to burn the jack and I've burnt it indoor, right? Just a little bit too much weight.
Yep. I would be guessing he's throwing a guard, but based on that weight, maybe not.
little unfortunate.
Don't think that really made a difference.
No.
Oh, looks like a better line.
Too wide.
Yeah. So we are off to a tiebreak.
Yeah. But he gave himself a chance there, you know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
taking the second set. And very good bowling by Carey in that second set. Well, both of them, but
Mm-hmm. There's the coin toss. And I guess Patrick will be starting us off.
yeah. I haven't seen very many in this tournament take the mat up to within a meter of the hog line and then
Right.
roll.
Yes.
Maybe
I
it's
agree.
because of not a lot of the contestants aren't that used to this surface, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that can really mess people up.
Yep, absolutely, and that's something I probably would have practiced during practice day if I was playing, just
Yeah.
to do that.
Short to the tee
Yep.
on a fast surface.
When I did play in the outdoor singles a few years back, when I was playing in the bronze medal game against Pat Bird,
Mm-hmm.
we both just played mat at the hog line, jack on the tee, mat at the hog line, jack at the tee,
Right.
and it didn't matter who had the mat. That was just what we did. So we had a very short walk from hog line back and forth.
Yeah.
So be placing the mat was just a very short distance. We only used one mat, obviously, but
Yeah.
both enjoyed it, both played it well. It was a really good game, but not very many people do that and do that confidently, comfortably on a regular basis, and it just sort of befuddles me that it's an option and not many people do.
Right. Use it. Yeah. Yeah. But what's really, yeah, and like you say with you yourself and Pat, that you were both, you know, like the same weight. But if someone doesn't know that that's what you like,
Yeah.
you're just rubbing your hands. And you're going, okay. Another person that likes to do that is John Aveline.
Ah, John Aveline.
Yeah. But I can't remember if he's still doing competitive singles at all yet. And he's the coach in the club that I'm at, so
Right.
yeah. And Southpaw,
Yes.
left-handed bowler. I'm still so surprised, unless I missed someone that within all, you know, what is it, 22 bowlers, only one is left-handed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Wow.
that doesn't really surprise me too much. I don't think there's that many lefties.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just that the right-handed bowlers are the good bowlers.
Hmm.
So maybe we can find out what the percentage of
Yeah.
left-handed bowlers are.
That would
Well,
be
I know
interesting,
left-handed people is, like, I'm left-handed, so it's like 10% of the population, I think, is
but
left-handed.
left-handed, So I guess then if it's 10%, then I would have expected one more.
One
person
more, yeah.
To be a lefty here.
What's wrong with you guys?
Ooh, Patrick just missed. Tight head up there.
Yeah. Is Patrick? Oh no, probably not.
No, Carey's holding
Yeah, it's hard to tell
one,
from here.
maybe even two.
Yeah.
If I were Carey right now, I'd probably be thinking about getting a bull on the tee.
Who has last bowl?
Carey does.
Yeah.
And he's just drawing into the head.
Yeah.
Chip the jack right to Patrick.
Oh well.
So Patrick's holding one right now.
Well, you should have listened to you and.
Yeah, that's the danger you have with that, because that's a very tricky shot. I don't know if Patrick would have made that or not,
Yeah.
but now if I'm Patrick, You definitely need another bull in the head. If Carey drives that out, you're down 2 or 3.
Yeah, here's where it comes to the crunch. But you know, I'm surprised at how many times when it gets into a tie break that people score multiple, right? I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it befuddles me, but you know, I've done that. You know, had the same thing happen to me before. But you would think it's so unusual for anyone to get a 4 in a tie break, but I've seen it a few times. You know, and a 3.
Yeah. What's going on here? I think that's a really good bull. I think that's a really, really good bull to get another one in the head.
The other thing that I've noticed that is, as the tournament goes on, people are seem to be throwing more weighted shots. Do you agree with that or not?
I don't know. I feel like it's almost sort of just the people themselves. Because I'm thinking, like, when we streamed Carey earlier, he was throwing a lot of weighted shots then, and so still is here. And Patrick is the type that throws a lot of weighted shots, and he's here. So I feel like it's just the people who normally throw weighted shots are still continuing to throw weighted shots, but
and they're all bowling on rink 5.
And they're all bowling on rink 5. That's right. So I can't really say for sure about. You easily could be right. Maybe they are throwing more weighted shots, but I haven't really been watching too much on rinks 1, 2, 3, 4, or 6.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But I guess now that I'm thinking about it, I have heard a lot more thuds lately, so I guess just...
I should have said unsuccessful weighted
shots. Yeah, I guess I guess so. I've heard it.
That's the indicator.
Yes.
It's wide.
Narrow. Very
narrow. Sorry, narrow.
Yeah. Just playing the other hand.
Yeah. You took a lot of time on that too.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that.
Can't take time?
No.
I'm very similar to that as well. I can take 5, 6, 7 seconds, but if I take any longer than that, then forget about it.
Yeah, then you're thinking too much.
Mm-hmm. Measuring for 2?
Yeah, it appears so. Let's take a look at that.
So that was actually 2 for Patrick. He won the measure there, so 2-0.
Wow. He's in the driver's seat now.
He is. Much shorter length here.
Yeah. That's pretty much minimum length. So it's a big change.
Mm-hmm.
See who can
figure it out.
Yeah, adapt to it quicker. Oh, that's a nice shot coming in from Carey.
That'll be shot itself. Approaching the 2-hour mark of this game. Very, very lengthy.
Yeah.
It's the last men's match. All of the other women's games have started and are even 2 ends in, maybe 3 ends in some cases.
Yeah. Maybe it's just they want to make sure that you know, they don't do anything silly in front of the camera, so they take their time.
What's your opinion on time limits? Think we need them or no?
Oh yeah, I definitely.
Carey just gave it away again.
I really think that what they should do is they should have people timing people all the time. It'd be like there's other sports that have time limits. I'm sure.
Like curling, where
Yeah,
each team
yeah.
only has.
If you're on the clock, right?
Yep.
I think it'd be great. And you know, they've done some stuff in Australia. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but where they have these, like, I don't know if they're weekend tournaments or what they are, where you only have a handful of seconds to deliver after the opponent's bowls stop. They do a whole bunch of things to speed it up and make it more maybe attractive for people to do. And I'm all for that kind of stuff. I want to have a lot of fun out there. You know?
Yep, I agree 100%. And some of the listeners out there, you can message me if I'm wrong. I'm thinking of you, Ryan Statnick. But for PBA stuff, potters and whatnot, I'm pretty certain that there's a shot clock, and after the bowl comes to rest, you have exactly 30 seconds to deliver your bowl, and it doesn't matter where you're standing. You could be down at the head. It doesn't matter. You have exactly 30 seconds. I think it's 30 seconds. I could be wrong on that. But
well, yeah, that's far too generous. It should be like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I would like that even better. I can maybe understand 30 if you're down at the other end, but yeah, no, I agree. I think that.
And like we said the other day, minimize the head visits.
I love that idea. So if you're only tuning in now, David and I were talking yesterday about making a limit for how many times you can visit the head throughout a set. Maybe throughout the first set, you can only visit the head 5 times or something like that. I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, because, you know, especially if you've got good markers.
You can ask them and they can tell you.
Yeah. But like I think I mentioned too, is that some people really have a difficult time visualizing it from the mat end. But if that's part of the game,
yeah, you just
gotta learn.
You gotta learn.
Yeah. So how are we doing here? Patrick's up. Oh yeah, he's gone for a safe shot here. I don't know if he needed to do that.
No, because he's already got the tee covered, so that's interesting. I think I would have probably been trying to play underneath onto Carey's bowl, get second shot that way, but Ryan's saying that. So in Australia, they have a big pairs tournament called the Blue Diamond Pairs. 21 end games, all ends open, 16-second green, done with tons of time to spare. So don't think we need a clock, just need more common sense.
Yeah.
And that's easier said than done.
Oh, yeah, finally.
Because how do you enforce common sense or teach people to have common sense? Like, you can't really. I don't really know how we can enforce that.
Yeah. I've tried a couple of things to counteract slow play. One of them is to play as slow, but that takes me out of my comfort zone. So I have to do it. I have to do it in the right way, to where if they take, say, 30 seconds after my bowl comes to a stop, and then they deliver, so I wait, and then I've got 30 seconds. So I've, turn around, walk a little bit, roll your bowl over a couple of times, and then all that time you're trying to remember, okay, I got to come up to the mat with a certain amount of time left and do my normal thing, right? Yeah. It didn't work for me. But it made for the longest game I've ever played in.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Carey just made a great shot with his last one there to punch Patrick out, and I'm not sure if that was 1 or 2 for Carey.
Oh, this is a critical point. I missed it. Too much yakking and not enough keeping the eyes peeled.
We'll see what Marie does for the scoreboard after 2 ends of this tiebreak. It's all tied up at 2, so this will be the last end.
Yes. No fourth end. Oh, that's really going sideways almost.
It is, yeah, that really took off to a side. Yeah, no, I do like the idea of having a clock for each team. I just can't wrap my head around how we would implement that, because that means you would need to have someone on each rink whose specific job is to start the clock, stop the clock, start the clock, stop the clock.
Yeah, the logistics are difficult for sure. You could always make sure that they timed themselves and they policed it themselves. Maybe not. But yeah, there's a lot of, you know. I just find that slow play is
An issue.
showing lack of respect to your opponent.
Yep.
That's the best way I can word it.
That's a good way to word it.
Yeah.
And having played internationally, I will say that Canadians are hands down the slowest players of any country I've ever played in or against.
Right. Other than Ryan. But I think it's the bowling culture here, and it's so you got to somehow
change that.
Yeah.
That's the $1 million question.
Yeah, have a grassroots revolution.
Yes.
Oh, this looks good.
Second bowl, throw and wait.
Oh,
found the board.
Missed. Yeah, that.
Is Patrick throwing weight at this too?
Looks like.
It looks like it. This is, wow.
This is bizarre.
Bizarre is a good way to word it. And he just threw his ball in the ditch too.
What are they doing?
Yeah, that is a great question. So, after 4 bowls, 2 bowls each, this is what the head looks like.
You may as well go for the larger target and hit the bowl out, right?
Yeah, if that's what you're going to do, then yeah, go for the bigger target.
But I have all the answers. They might not be right.
Is he back to a draw now?
I believe so.
He's close too. He's got it.
Yeah. Maybe he was just trying to
Get rid of the scoreboard.
yeah, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he was just trying to psych Patrick into doing it, and then
Yeah, maybe. Patrick's throwing weight. I think he's wide.
he might get a wick here.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Almost. And both bowls stayed up. That's interesting.
1 bowl left each to come.
So how far behind? Oh, okay. A foot?
A couple feet past the tee. And
No, like the
separation
jack behind the.
Jack and bowl is, I don't know, 10 inches maybe?
Okay.
And the fact that it's a touch or two, this makes it a very difficult shot. What do you do if you carry?
It's trying to. Oh, carry?
Yeah. His last bowl here, you don't want to make that a bigger target. Something.
I'd almost try and draw in behind it. And err on the caution of weight. I don't know.
I think I would draw just in behind Patrick's bowl, so that way you have the tee covered in case he does get it.
Right.
But it's not really making the target any bigger.
Let's see what he does. I think he's doing what you were talking about. Looking at the pace. Well, maybe half of each. That's a wider target.
Yeah, that is a wider target. So now if I'm Patrick, I'm probably changing hands to throw weight at that. And get a double there. Double with no jack movement. Either on the outside edge of Kerry's last bowl to double them out, or on the inside edge to double them both out. There's options.
See where the jack is? I think there's still a couple of feet to the ditch.
Yep.
And that's why I was kind of thinking that Kerry's shot might be to just
draw around behind.
And even if your bowl goes into the ditch,
yep.
It's not going to hurt you at all, really. Yep. It'll just hurt your pride. I'm so engrossed in this game now I can't do the peripheral stuff.
Well, this is the last bowl of the game. All comes down to this.
It's looking close.
I don't think so.
No?
Wide and heavy.
Okay.
That's by quite a pace.
You're right.
So that is the game to Kerry Lussier.
That was a good game. Well bowled against two pals, I guess, eh? Or at least teammates.
Two acquaintances, anyway. So that's it. So we'll take a short 10-minute break, and then we'll be back with the women's match.
You're a slave driver.